Hey man, I'm Jusko from Proud Money. In this video, we are going to look at what are the easiest credit cards to get approved for. In particular, we are going to be looking at no annual fee cards that are the easiest to be approved for, because there are plenty of sort of bottom feeder cards out there on the market that will approve you very easily, but also charge you a ton of fees. And so we don't really want to go in that direction. We want to talk about a little bit more mainstream credit cards that are going to be on the easier end to be approved for. Since everyone loves the top 10 list, let's start there, and then we'll do some sort of honorable mention cards that are maybe a little more difficult, but still on the easier end. So starting that top 10, the easiest card out there on the market and sort of the mainstream market, I would say, with no annual fee, the Capital One Platinum card. A very bare bones card, no annual fee, no rewards to speak of. Your interest rate on the card is going to be on the higher end. So there's not a ton here to really love necessarily, but if you are someone that is having a hard time getting approved for a credit card for whatever reason, whether that's new to credit or you are someone that has had some past credit problems, the Capital One Platinum might be your easiest way to get into a credit card from sort of a mainstream issuer. Now, number two on this list, I'm actually going to talk about two cards that I think are sort of at the same level in terms of their ease of approval, and then also sort of the same level in terms of their potential desirableness if you're looking for a credit card. And those are the Amazon Store card and the new, or at least new as I make this video, OnePay Walmart credit card. So the Amazon Store card is a no annual fee card that can only be used at Amazon, and it essentially isn't giving you anything other than some 0% financing offers on larger purchases with the card. If you do have Amazon Prime, you will get 5% back on your Amazon and Whole Foods purchases, so that's something to consider if you're someone that's Amazon Prime, but you can't be approved for the Amazon Visa that is issued by Chase and is a more difficult card to get. But anyway, the Amazon Store card, even though it doesn't have a lot, Amazon has a lot. And so if you're someone that wants to sort of get credit and are having a hard time doing so, that is a card that you can potentially get your foot in the door with. It is issued by Synchrony Bank, which is a card that, or a company that does a lot of store credit cards in partnership with various retailers. So they tend to be more lenient on the approvals. And then the same thing on the Walmart side, the OnePay Walmart card, also issued in partnership with Synchrony Bank. And so again, that is going to be potentially an easier card to get. Walmart very much pushes its banking partners to really approve a lot of people. So I assume that is going to be the same thing with this card as well. If you can qualify for the Walmart MasterCard, that is a good thing, because that's going to give you some decent rewards at Walmart itself. And then you're also going to be able to use it anywhere else that MasterCard is accepted. So that's obviously going to be more desirable than having a card that is just usable in the store. If you don't qualify for that Walmart MasterCard, there is a Walmart Spend card, or a OnePay Walmart Spend card, that is only used at Walmart. But again, like Amazon, Walmart has a ton of stuff. So that might be a way to get your foot in the door if you really need to get your credit going, but don't have a very good credit history. Now, number three on this list is also going to be multiple credit cards that are sort of at the same level, and this is going to be store credit cards from retailers that are maybe not as desirable as having something like Amazon or Walmart, where there's so much to choose from in terms of what they offer as a retailer. So I'm thinking of things like the Best Buy credit cards, the Gap, Old Navy, Banana Republic, Sephora or Ulta credit cards, gas credit cards like Shell or BP or whoever the individual gas company is that you are talking about. A lot of times these cards are going to be easier to be approved for because these retailers really want you to be approved for them, and so they are going to push their issuing bank partners to approve more people than are probably going to be approved sometimes from the bigger banks. And again, Synchrony Bank, who I just mentioned with the Amazon and Walmart card, oftentimes is going to be that issuing bank on a lot of these cards. Comenity Bank oftentimes is in a similar situation, is the issuing bank for a lot of these sort of retail cards, and all of them are going to have a little lower standard of approval, a little easier standard to be approved for them. Number four on this list is the Chase Freedom Rise. This is a no annual fee card that gives you 1.5% cash back on all of your purchases. Otherwise, not a whole lot going on with this card, but the reason it's up high on this list is because Chase makes a point of telling you that if you have $250 or more in a Chase bank bank account, that's going to increase your chances of being approved for this card. And it's not very often that a bank will just come out and explicitly say, hey, if you have a bank account with us and there's, at least some decent amount of money in it, well, then we consider you to be a little bit lower risk and we would think of you as someone that we are more likely to approve. So oftentimes you're kind of shooting in the dark in terms of whether you're going to be approved or not. Chase here telling you that you have a better chance of being approved if you do this particular thing. No annual fee, 1.5% cashback card. Not a great card necessarily, but if you're someone that's having any trouble being approved for other credit cards, certainly not a bad one. Number 5 on the list, the Discover It card, or perhaps the Discover It Chrome card. So the Discover It card is a no annual fee card that gives you 5% cash back in certain spending categories that change each calendar quarter, and then any other spending that you do with the card gets you 1% cash back. The Discover It card has a reputation, a very long-standing reputation of being a fairly easy card to get in relation to other cards from major banks. Now, Discover has recently been acquired by Capital One, but Capital One sort of has a similar reputation in terms of being on the easier end as an issuer in terms of approving more people. So my assumption going forward is that Discover will continue to sort of keep that reputation going with the Discover It card. Now, when you apply for the Discover It card, or if you do a pre-approval for the Discover It card, it is possible that instead they would push you toward the Discover It Chrome card, which is a card that is not quite as good, but is no annual fee, gives you 2% back on gas station purchases and restaurant purchases, 1% back on everything else. So sometimes if your credit history doesn't quite qualify you for the Discover It card, you might get pushed toward the Discover Chrome, or you might even get something in your mail asking you to apply for the Discover It Chrome card instead. But either way, Discover usually on the easier end. Number 6 on the list is the Mission Lane Visa. There are actually 2 Mission Lane Visas. There's the Green Line Visa or the Silver Line Visa, and when you apply for the card, you're really going to do sort of a pre-approval where they will tell you what you could be approved for without any hit to your credit score. So the Green Line Visa is going to be no annual fee card. It's not going to have any rewards or anything like that. It is targeted toward people that are sort of in the fair credit range. So if you don't have a super high credit score, but it's not terrible, maybe you could get approved for that card, and if your credit score is a little bit higher, you might qualify for the Silver Line Visa, which is no annual fee with 1.5% cash back. Now, Mission Lane, a little bit smaller credit card issuer, but they have been around for a while now, and overall the reviews of them seem okay, so I feel comfortable putting them in this list here. Number 7, Capital One Quicksilver, no annual fee, 1.5% cash back on all of your purchases. New cardholder bonus opportunity. As I make this video, I believe it's $200. Sometimes it is $150. You usually have to spend either $500 or $1,000 in the first few months of having the card to achieve that bonus. So most of these cards we've talked about so far don't have any sort of bonus opportunity on the front end, although some of them may have a smaller one. So this is an opportunity potentially to get that bonus. Now, Capital One might also, when you apply for this card, offer you the card without the bonus if your credit score doesn't quite get you up to the level that they feel comfortable giving you that bonus. So keep that in mind as well. Number 8, the Bank of America Unlimited. This is going to be a familiar refrain here now. No annual fee, 1.5% cash back on all of your purchases. Bank of America, not known to be super easy as a lender when it comes to approving people, but this offer is not quite as enticing as some of the other offers out there on the market, both from Bank of America and the other big card issuers. So if getting in with Bank of America is attractive to you, this could be the card to do it, probably the easiest one, or one of the easier ones that you're going to be able to nab from Bank of America. Number 9, the Chase Slate Edge, no annual fee, no rewards to speak of here, but a strong 0% offer. You get a 0% APR, which you could think of as a 0% interest rate on your purchases and balance transfers to this card. So that basically means you're getting like a year and a half where you can make purchases and you have a good long time to pay them back. You could carry a balance from month to month during that period and not pay any interest. Now, obviously, you want to get everything paid off before the end of that 18 months, or you are going to pay interest, and probably at a fairly high rate. Now, normally I don't think of Chase as a card company that really is offering cards or approving people in any sort of easy way, but this is another one from Chase where they give you language that suggests that this card is built potentially for you if you want an easier approval. Because if you use the card and spend at least $1,000 with it and pay on time during that first year, they're promising you the potential to have your interest rate reduced by 2%. And then they also are talking about credit limit increases on this card on the sort of marketing page where it says if you use the card to spend at least $500 and you pay on time within the first few months, well then Chase is going to consider you for a credit limit increase, which probably means your initial credit limit might not be great if you don't have a great credit history, but they're going to be paying attention to you and potentially increase that. So that's the kind of language the card companies use when they want you to know that we potentially will approve you even if your credit history is not as long or maybe not quite as good. And then 10th on our list is another one from Capital One. Maybe you're a little tired of Capital One at this point, but the Capital One Venture One card is a no annual fee travel card that really is sort of paltry in terms of what it offers. It gives you 1.25 miles per dollar on your purchases, so not a very generous reward. Oftentimes those miles are going to be thought of as the same way that like cash back would be. 1.25 miles might be 1.25%, but you're only going to be able to use those miles toward travel rewards, at least to get that full 1.25%. So it's not overly generous, which means it's probably going to be easier to be approved for. Capital One's other venture cards, maybe not quite as easy, but the Venture One card with the no annual fee and the sort of lackluster reward, probably a little easier. So that is your top 10, but I do want to mention another 10 or 11 cards that are maybe a notch higher in terms of degree of difficulty, but still might be cards that you could consider if your credit score isn't too bad. For some of these cards, you might get approved and be perfectly happy. In some cases, you might get approved and then find out the credit limit isn't quite what you want. I'm just going to list these cards here, not go too far into them unless there's something specific I want to mention, but you can do some further research on your own. First off is the Apple card. You have the Bank of America Travel Rewards card here, the Bilt MasterCard, which has the rewards on rent payments that you can get from that card. It is fairly popular. The Blue Cash Everyday card, a nice no annual fee rewards card. Chase with its Chase Freedom Unlimited or Chase Freedom Flex. Again, not going to be as easy as those other Chase cards we talked about, but still you could potentially get in there. You have the Citi Strata card, which is the no annual fee travel card from Citi. Now I do want to mention here Credit One. Credit One is a company that I don't always feel great about, and a lot of their cards are not ones that I would necessarily recommend, but Credit One does have their sort of Platinum Rewards card, I believe they call it, which is a no annual fee card that gives you 1% cash back on certain purchases like gas and groceries, and really not going to give you any reward otherwise. The problem with Credit One is that they're going to make you go through their pre-approval for pretty much any of their cards, so it's almost like you can't apply for that card in particular. So oftentimes you're going to go through and think this is the card I want, and they're going to show you a bunch of other cards that have annual fees or have some other non-desirable things going on with them. So be very careful with Credit One, but if you can get approved for that card, that is a potential win there. Navy Federal Credit Union Go Rewards card. Navy Federal known to be a little easier on approvals, but you do have to qualify to be a member of Navy Federal Credit Union in order to actually get a hold of any of their cards. PayPal Cashback MasterCard is another Synchrony Bank backed card. The Venmo credit card, the Verizon credit card, which is actually a pretty nice rewards card, is potentially a little easier to get a hold of, and then the Wells Fargo Attune. Now again, those last 10 or 11 cards, not necessarily easy to get your hands on, but they are ones that are potentially going to be a little more lenient, especially if they don't offer as much in terms of rewards. Oftentimes on the websites of these credit card issuers, there are going to be pre-approval or pre-qualification things going on where you can try to see if you are likely to be approved or not. American Express in particular is going to allow you to apply, and they will tell you in advance whether you are going to be be approved. So if you don't get approved, you won't get a hit to your credit score. So that is good to know. And then if you are approved, obviously you can go through and get the card. But a lot of them have at least some sort of pre-approval that would give you an idea of whether you might be approved or not. So that is it for this video. Would love to hear your questions or comments in that comment section below. Otherwise, I thank you for watching.